Gotchasports. We are back. 75th episode, Carrie. How about that?
That's a lot. Doesn't it does not feel like 75. I'll say that much.
No. The past, we've been doing it for a little over a year. I would say 75
Year
episodes,
and a few
putting out
months.
75 episodes, pretty good.
Oh yeah, full-time jobs. Been a
Yeah.
crazy year. A lot of traveling.
Yep.
Definitely had a hiatus here and there, but for the most part, I would say we're doing a good job keeping up with this, and I really think it's going to ramp back up once college football is back because there's just so much to talk about that it's easy for us to get in 2 episodes worth of bullshit for everyone.
For sure. We're also more college guys, so makes sense
Yeah,
given the fact that college sports are coming back in full swing. How was the weekend?
it was great. I did nothing. I have I have 3 straight weekends of being out of town, so I was very content just sitting in my apartment. One of our one of our buddies even wanted us to go hiking at this place, and it takes you to like a little water hole, and like looks really cool, sounds incredible. And I was just like, I'm honestly out this weekend. I'm gonna have 3 straight weekends of just no rest. Probably not gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just took a break this weekend. A lot of couch time, a lot of movies. Trying to think. One of the better movies that I saw this weekend that I haven't seen before is called Dazed and Confused. I recommend
Dazed
it.
and
It's
confused.
Yeah, it's probably the youngest I've ever seen Matthew McConaughey in a movie. Yeah, like I was
Oh, I have seen
shocked.
that. I have seen that.
I was
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I was shocked seeing him that young.
Yeah.
But it's basically just like what a teenager summer was like in the 70s. They literally just drove around in cars for fun and vandalized and smashed mailboxes and bullied the freshmen basically.
Electric. That's what
Yeah.
that time frame was.
But that was my weekend. You do anything exciting or was it relatively similar to mine?
Relatively similar. Did a little thrift store hopping, vintage store hopping on Saturday, which was fun. Didn't really see anything I liked, so didn't get anything. But no, relatively chill weekend as well. Things are starting to ramp up. Weddings quickly approaching here in the next 2.5, 3 weeks. So finalizing things for that, getting all of our meetings in and whatnot. And so didn't do much, but it felt like I got a lot done, which was good. Yeah, it's one of those where you have a bunch of boxes that you need to check, and they kind of just linger and linger. And then when you finally are able to check them off, even though, again, didn't do anything extravagant, I felt like I got a lot done this weekend. So no complaints from my side.
It's all that matters. I
Yeah.
felt like I got a lot done too, and I didn't, but it was a good weekend.
There you go. There you go. Well, if it's your first time joining us, welcome. We are Gotcha Sports. Today's episode, we got college football talk. We're at week 0 is here, ladies and gentlemen. It is here. We're going to go through the big 4 conferences, the SEC, Big 12, ACC, Big 10, pick our winners or predict our winners for this year, then also possibly talk about a couple of sleeper teams that we like to make some noise this year. 2 segments today. We got bar talk, and then we got would you rather, and then, of course, we're going to end it with the best segment in best bet. But Kerry, college football is here. Week 0. We got a game in Ireland at noon Eastern time on Saturday between top 25 opponents in Iowa State and Kansas State. That's going to be super exciting. This football season with the new 12-team playoff format where the seedings, it's not going to be based off of or similar to last year. You're not going to have an Ohio State be a 9 seed or an 8 seed. It's going to be more of a true format type of rankings, which is going to be sick. But the SEC, predicted to be the best conference once again. Who do you predict is going to win the SEC this year, and maybe a team that you could see jumping up the polls that people may not expect?
This year, SEC, I'm going to give it to Texas. I think Manning's going to be a pretty solid quarterback, and I think if anything, he's obviously his name does it for him, but I think he's the most established overall, just talented quarterback in the SEC. And look at different teams, and I know I'm jumping to the Big Ten here. Ohio State is going to have a brand new quarterback this year, redshirt freshman, I believe. Really have no clue what we're going to get from him, and that's something that in my head I just start thinking about it, and like Texas has been locked on Manning starting this year since last year. Like they knew his time was coming after Ewers was gone, and we already saw glimpses of Manning being a beast running the football against some very talented SEC teams. So I'm giving it to Texas strictly off a quarterback play.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also think Texas is going to win the SEC this year. Again, is it going to all come down to Arch? Probably. It's so weird because when you have a quarterback that hasn't really had true college time, typically us as fans are skeptical, right? It's like, ooh, is he actually the real deal? Is it because of a Manning? People are thinking he's more of a real deal than if his last name wasn't Manning. Maybe, but I do agree with you. I do think he's the real deal. I think Texas, they return both of their running backs in Wisner and Baxter, who is an elite duo back there. They did lose some wide receivers, which could hurt, but I mean, it's Texas. They've got 5-star athletes everywhere. Their offensive line, I actually think, is their biggest question mark this year, but I also think it's counteracted with Arch's ability to get out of the pocket, which will probably help if their offensive line isn't as good. Texas defense is going to be absolutely nasty like it was last year. Nothing's going to change there. The only thing that I think Texas could struggle with is their road schedule. Going to Ohio State to start the year is an incredibly tall task, especially for a quarterback that hasn't started more than 2 games in his career. But I do think they beat Ohio State. And then they also play Georgia and Florida on the road as well. So you've got a quarterback who everybody's expecting to be great, which again, I think he is going to be. And then you have an offensive line that's a little bit of a question mark, but there's 5-star athletes all around this very talented quarterback with a nasty defense. I think that's a good recipe. I think they dominate the SEC.
Yeah, I completely agree. Um, but jumping to my maybe sleeper pick of the SEC, we saw plenty of glimpses of them being very talented last year, and we did see games that they threw away badly. I believe one was even against Alabama. Um, but I'm going to give it to the Gamecocks of South Carolina. I think
Cox.
Lenore's, yeah, the Cocks. I think Lenore Sellers is a legit SEC quarterback. He was only a freshman last year, and we already saw signs of him just being an absolute freak. And I think back behind him, behind the season they had last year, they struggled the past few years. But last year, they were beating teams that they were not supposed to beat. I believe they stomped on Missouri. They beat Kentucky, and I don't know if they were actually favored in either one of those games. Obviously, I think we can both agree Missouri might have been one of the biggest fluke rankings to start off a season in the past few years. I think they were what? They might have even been a top 5 team, top 10.
Definitely top 10. I don't know. I don't know if they were top 5. I think they were either 6 or 7. They could have been 5 last year, though.
Yeah. But I mean that was a miserable season they had. But I think South Carolina even finished off 9-3 with maybe a small glimpse of making the playoffs.
Yeah.
But I mean that's a team you have to take serious this year because their offense is dangerous. They did have an incredible running back last year. I do believe he's gone, but
Yeah.
they did run a 2 running back system anyways. So I don't think there's going to be a big issue there. I think it's the big question is the defense. I know last year they had times where they could just not tackle a human being to save their lives.
I agree with you. I think South Carolina is going to be good. Lenore Sellers is great. They have weapons. Their defensive line is really good. Their secondary could use some improvement, but I do think that they added some key pieces. So I don't hate that South Carolina pick as your sleeper. I'm actually going to go with Texas's rival in Oklahoma.
Oh
And
wow.
they had a
Okay.
bad season the past 2 or 3 years. They even have a tough road schedule this year, going on the road at Alabama, on the road at South Carolina, and then they'll play in the Red River Shootout against Texas. But they return a really, really good defense, especially their defensive line, that kept them from being absolutely horrible last year. They bring in John Mater from Washington State, who threw and rushed over for 4,000 yards last year. dual threat quarterback. They brought in 8 new wide receivers from all across the country. They still have Ryan Broyles, who was hurt last year, who's a stud if he can stay healthy. I think this team makes a big jump. I think they surprised some teams this year. I think they have a hard enough schedule where they could really make some noise if they start clicking off a couple of these road wins, like at an Alabama, at a South Carolina, compete with Texas in the Red River Shootout. I think Oklahoma has the opportunity to make that huge jump. Do I think they're a playoff team? Probably not, but I do think that they're going to be in the top 25 and be around that talk throughout this entire year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great pick. I think that one, in terms of comparing to South Carolina, is a little bit more of a risky play.
Yeah,
It's the same thing. We've seen both those teams played very poorly at times. It's just Oklahoma. We got to see if they can get out of the rut, because we saw South Carolina, they got out of it last year. Like, that was a very
yeah, for
impressive
sure.
season. I think it's just seeing if Oklahoma can finally just put some confidence together in their team.
For sure. We both
Yeah.
got Texas winning the SEC. You got South Carolina as your sleeper. I got Oklahoma. I think that's solid. I think both those picks, these two teams that are going to be, or three teams that are going to be relevant all year. Oklahoma, maybe not, but that's why they're my sleeper pick.
Yeah.
But let's move on to the Big 12, a conference nobody really talks about anymore after losing Texas, after losing Oklahoma. But Big 12, who's your winner? Who's maybe a close winner of your sleeper team?
Yeah. So I know in the current FPI polls, Kansas State is the highest ranked Big 12 team currently. Personally, I'm not sold on any Big 12 team. I think it's the most sporadic conference there is, of teams just looking incredible and then they suck the next week. I think we saw that with Kansas and Iowa State last year. There were times they looked insane, and then there was times they got absolutely throttled by teams they should not have lost to. Um, so I think the Big 12 is a little tougher. It may be a thing where I actually have to watch 2 to 3 weeks in of every team to actually give you a more confident answer. But just historically, the past few years, I'm going to take BYU. I think they just play the most consistent football in the Big 12, and I mean that they can score. They their offense is usually pretty dominant with the football, but like I said, it's the Big 12's flops every single week. Like, teams, it's just not consistent football.
Yeah, I that BYU pick is a little bit crazy just because they lost their starting quarterback to he was a little bit of a freak down there in Utah,
Yeah,
and the school didn't like it. So we'll see who they're going to bring in this year and see how he does. But I am going to go with the traditional favorite pick in Kansas State. They return a lot of production. Avery Johnson, again, saw at times where he was really, really good, both with his arm and his legs. Saw times where he was inconsistent passing. So I think if he cleans that up, Kansas State can make that extra jump. Dylan Edwards, still their running back. I think he averaged like 6 or 7 yards a carry last year. So I think that's a huge bonus. Their defense has been consistent, which Kansas State, you don't really think of like a defensive power school, but they have been absurdly consistent, like same ranking over the past 3 or 4 years. They returned 7 or 8 starters on their defensive side of the ball, which I love. And I think they just have a favorable schedule compared to others in the Big 12. So I think Kansas State's going to be my winner. But a team to look out for, and people are looking out for them, rightfully so, is Texas Tech. One of the more
yeah,
intriguing teams, I think, all around in college football, just with how much money they spent. They got a lot of small school transfers, so I don't know how they're going to translate to this big time Power Four, Power Five football. They got a running back from USC, a wide receiver from Miami of Ohio. They're in year 3 of their head coach and Joey McGuire, and usually year 3 is the telltale sign in college football of how a program's going to turn out. 2 years under his belt, had two, well, at least one good year. And then, so year 3 to build off of that, their defense got some more transfers as well from Power 5 schools. So I think Texas Tech is a very, very intriguing team with what they've done in the offseason, the roster that they constructed. Are they all going to gel together like they think they're going to? Maybe, maybe not. But I think it's a team you have to at least keep your eye on with how different they are compared to last year.
yeah. I agree with everything you said. I think I would still put one team over them, and I think that's going to be Arizona State for me.
Yeah.
I understand they potentially lost the best running back in college football last year, but they also kind of had a stud of a freshman quarterback, and he has 1 year under his belt now. He's got the experience. I think for him, it's really going to depend on his wide receivers and really who this running back is coming in, because obviously Scatabo did a lot of the heavy lifting at times, and when you lose a guy like, well, no, when you have a guy like that, there's so much more attention put on the running back and taken away from the wide receivers, and now it's just like you don't have to treat any other running back like Scatabo, because realistically, no one was like him outside of Gianti, maybe.
Yeah, no, I agree. Arizona State's going to be good this year. Their defensive line was good last year. They have a really good coach who just loves football. They lose a guy like Cam Scatabo, who was a lot of their production, and even if he wasn't a part of the production on certain plays or certain games, he at least had two eyes on him at all times, which has drawn attention away from other people. So yeah, I mean Arizona State could be better than last year. Just given the fact that you lose a guy like Cam Scatabo, I can't put them as a winner, as a sleeper team, because they're not a sleeper team, because they're going to be good. So I do agree with you. Arizona State's a team to look out for sure, with who they're bringing back. Their head coach is awesome. They also do have a favorable schedule in the Big 12. And again, the Big 12 is not amazing by any means, but they have tough home games against good opponents, and they don't really have super tough away games. So we'll see how they end up. But yeah, they're a team that's going to be around for sure.
Yeah, and like I said, I this there you're going to see multiple leaders in the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, it's going to go
It's
back and
just
forth all year, I think.
yeah, but we're gonna get on to the ACC now. Realistically, I see two teams winning it, and my issue with one of them is that Miami has Carson Beck now. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's going to win the big games for them. That's why I'm going to go with Clemson. Clemson is just a rock. They're sturdy. The defense is always reliable. Typically have some type of offense. And Clemson, I think last year, you could argue that they're back. They made a run. They competed very well against Texas for the most part. I know at times that game was out of hands, but they just showed life for the majority of that game somehow, some way. And Clemson for me is always just like a very gritty, like hard knocks type of football team. And that's why I'm going to go with them. And honestly, how do you go against Dabo?
Yeah, I agree with you. Clemson's going to win the ACC. Playoff team last year, return a bunch, added key guys to some spots that they were missing. Cade Klubnik returns another year under his belt, who played a very good year last year. Antonio Williams, at wide receiver, is still there. So, I mean, this offense is going to be their offense that it was last year, but even better. Their defense is probably even going to be a little bit better than last year. Um, they added some key pieces in the transfer portal to fill some of those spots. I don't see them any way, any shape or form that Clemson does not win the ACC. I do agree. I don't think there's many teams that can actually win it. If you take away Clemson, I actually think the next best team isn't Miami, just because they lost so much production in Cam Ward, their wide receivers. Their defense is what's going to make them good. That's what makes that team go. But nobody's talking about, and maybe rightfully so, but nobody's talking about Georgia Tech. Haynes King returns at quarterback, Jamal Haynes at running back. Their offensive production, everybody is there. They have Clemson, Pitt, and Georgia all at home. They win two out of those. I mean, we're talking that Georgia Tech is arguably
Yeah.
right there. And then they don't have to play Miami. They don't have to play Louisville, who's probably the next best team, or other teams that are going to be towards the top of the ACC. So Georgia Tech has the opportunity to really make some noise this year and solidify their run that they've been on over the past couple of years. So I'm not going to sleep on Georgia Tech. I really love Haynes King. I really like Jamal Haynes. I mean, hell, they went to 9 overtimes against Georgia on the road last year. They got them at home
Yeah.
this year, and then they beat Clemson. I think they play Clemson in week 3 or week 4, so it's early. So we'll really see what this Clemson's going to be tested early in this football season, and we'll see what's made of that. But I like Georgia Tech, man.
Yeah, I agree with that one. I think Haynes King is just another quarterback that I feel like really any college team would love to have. Another dude,
Yeah,
very physical, head down, runs the football hard when he has to. And what I don't even know how big he is. He's a fucking unit to tackle. He's a big
yeah,
dude. He's not there's I mean, he's a guy he if he has to, he's getting the first down himself. And I think we saw that
for
multiple
sure.
times last year. Um
Yeah, I'm excited to watch this Georgia Tech team play. I mean, again, they play a different style of football than many of those big time programs. But I mean, these guys are dogs. Their
yeah.
defense isn't great. Their defense is not very good. But I'm saying that this offense is good enough to keep them in a lot of ball games, and they did add some pieces on their defensive front to where I think they can get into the backfield more than they did last year. But we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you. And the other team I would throw up there, and I I don't even know if you could really argue it's a sleeper. I think it's just another team that plays inconsistent football, and we've seen it happen multiple times. They just lose games they should not lose. But I'm gonna go with Louisville. I think they honestly won the
Yeah.
quarterback transfer portal this year, getting Miller Moss. He's a great quarterback, and with Louisville, I think it's going to be strictly up to their defense to decide their season for them.
Fuck Louisville. Screw them. No, I agree. I mean, Louisville, they have the outside weapons. They always do. Bringing a quarterback from USC is always it's a big mark, no matter who it is. Even if he stunk at USC last year, no matter what it is, if USC quarterback transfer to Louisville, it's a team to look out for. They got athletes. I do agree. Their defense is what's going to determine what their season is because they're going to be able to put up points. So I don't see their defense being better than a Georgia Tech, which is why I have Georgia Tech over Louisville. But I do agree with you that Louisville, if they can figure out and clean up some of their defensive mistakes that they had last year, they're a team that definitely could compete for the 2 or 3 spot in the ACC.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And typically it's a pretty exciting team to watch. Like they at
Yeah,
times are in some great games, and like you said, their offense is typically pretty electric for the most part. They score. They know how to score. Simple way
yeah,
to put it.
for sure. For sure. ACC is another one of those conferences where you typically have 1 or 2 teams at the top, and then it's whatever can happen at the bottom. If any of those teams can compete with them, I don't think it's any different this year. We both agree that Clemson's a clear favorite. I don't think there's any chance that they're not going to be at the top of the ACC come the end of it. So we can both agree on that one. But Kerry, let's move on to the last conference we're going to talk about today. Heavy hitter, and that is the Big Ten. Give me your winner. Your winner. Give me your wiener. Give me your winner. Give me your winner, and then also give me your sleeper for the Big Ten.
All right. My winner. It's between two teams, and it's Ohio State's not even one of them. I'm gonna throw it to Michigan. I think they could
Wow.
have a shot at being back this year, and my main reason being is I cannot include Ohio State in this. They haven't beat Michigan in 4 or 5 years now, dating back to
4 years, yeah.
because COVID. I guess they didn't play, but didn't beat them then. Haven't beat them the past 4 years. So for that reasoning, I'm gonna go Michigan because I think Michigan can handle Penn State too.
I don't hate that pick. I'm not gonna pick them, but yeah, I mean they've got Bryce Underwood, the freshman that everybody's been talking about. How is he going to do? Another quarterback that hasn't been established in college football yet. I really do think Michigan's the type of team because their defense is going to be good. It always is. They have a really good defensive coordinator, and then their offensive line is their question mark. But again, Bryce Underwood with his ability to run the football can kind of counteract that lack of offensive line. But if that offensive line can hold, then they're going to be good. McCauley on the outside as a wide receiver is a really good target for Bryce Underwood. And again, their defensive front's going to be nasty. Their secondary is going to be good enough to be able to keep them in games. I don't hate that pick, but I do think that Penn State is the better football team. I do think that they beat Michigan, and I do think Penn State wins the Big Ten. They return a lot of production. We know that they've got one of the best running back duos in the country, and Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton. 4 offensive linemen starters return, which is huge for them. It's their second year under their offensive coordinator, Koto Lanecki, who came from Kansas, who has an electric offense. Is Drew Aller a good enough quarterback to win the big games like a Michigan going on the road at, I believe, Ohio State and IU? Is he good enough in some of those big games to win? Or is it going to be a similar Penn State situation as last year? They win the games they're supposed to, they lose the games that they're supposed to, and we just do the same song and dance this year. I don't know. I do think Drew Aller takes a step up. I've said it multiple times on this podcast. I don't think he gets enough credit, but I do think he's going to be good enough. Penn State's going to win the Big Ten this year.
They're gonna throttle Signetti. That's not even a game you got to worry about.
I agree. I think they go in there and handle them pretty easily. But again, Drew Aller doesn't play well in big games. So if you don't consider that a big game, then he'll probably throw for 300 yards. If you consider it a big game, he'll probably throw for 115 with 3 picks.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. And my sleeper team, by no means do I think they're gonna compete for the Big Ten title, but a sneaky team. I'm gonna throw it to the Iowa Hawkeyes. We've seen them. We've
Oh,
seen them the past years. Their defense is always there. This
yeah.
year, this year they're gonna find a way to put some points up on the board, and they're not gonna be a fun football team to play.
Carrie, I agree with you 100%. As my sleeper pick for this year in the Big Ten, it was also Iowa. They have a favorable home schedule. And by favorable, meaning they play tough opponents at home. But again, it's at home. You got IU, Penn State, and Oregon all at home. They get a transfer quarterback from South Dakota State, Mark Gronowski, who threw over 10,000 yards in his 4 years at South Dakota State. Pretty much the entire offensive line returns. And again, to your point, they play that frustrating zone matchup defense that causes a bunch of teams fits, and especially when they're playing at Iowa. And Iowa's going to be Iowa. If some of these transfers pan out, they might actually win some of the close games that they have. And I think Iowa could be in the top 25 all year, but also we could see the same Iowa that goes 7-5 and can't win the close game. But I do think Iowa is the sleeper pick in the Big Ten this year, especially with this quarterback coming in. Their defense is going to be their defense. So we'll see if he actually pans out and this offense can actually get going. But I like Iowa, dude.
Yeah, I would love to see a hot Iowa football team again.
It'd be fun. It'd be a nice twist in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But that's going to round out our Power Four, top 4 conferences in college football. We both had Texas winning the SEC. Big 12, Kerry had BYU, I had Kansas State. Both had Clemson for the ACC. And then in the Big 10, Kerry went with Michigan and I went with Penn State. I'm pumped, dude. College football is officially back. Week 0, starting it off in Dublin, Ireland. I'll be waking it up with a Guinness. I can promise you that on Saturday morning.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you how excited I am for this. It's obviously jumping out of my voice right now. You can tell. But
Yeah,
I need this to be back so badly. I feel like I've been looking forward
100%.
to it for about 3 months now, and you just count down every single like week or
Oh
two.
yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be an awesome college football season. As always, week 0 this week. Next week we'll preview the best games. We got a loaded week 1: Texas, Ohio State, LSU, Clemson, Notre Dame, Miami. It's going to be an awesome week this week, and then next week we'll preview those big games and talk about week 0. But we're going to be here to cover it all year, so stay tuned for that. But Carrie, let's throw it to our next segment, and that is bar talk.
Yeah, I got a good one for you. I actually heard it this past weekend, and I definitely texted you about it to remember. All right, so obviously this past weekend, there was a pretty big UFC event, probably the most psychotic sport you could ever, one, play, or two, love to do, because you either are psycho and you love or don't mind getting punched in the face and kicked in the shin, and you also like don't mind literally putting someone to sleep and like basically killing them for a little bit. Like
Yep.
nuts, crazy sport. So I heard this question. I don't know if I think it was one of my friends actually asked it. You're at a bar, right? You and me, we're not the fighting type, and I'm not ashamed to say
Nope.
that. But
Not at all.
you're at a bar, someone does something, and it even gets you to the point where it's like, I have to fight this dude. You get ready to fight him, whatever. You notice that he has cauliflower ear, because if someone has cauliflower ear, they are a wrestler. They fight in the UFC, maybe not the UFC. They do some sort of it. They're doing mixed martial arts or something. If you see that, are you immediately just like, nope, not doing it, just backing away?
100%.
Yeah, yeah.
100%.
I heard that question. I was like, holy shit, dude. Yeah, like I'm not. I'm backing down right away.
I'll swallow my pride. I don't give
Yeah,
a hoot, dude. If I
yeah.
see that, I'm running a 430 down the street, dude.
You're ending up in a
I'm out.
chokehold. You're ending up in a chokehold,
I'm
just
out.
like squeezing your beer can to death because you can't breathe.
Yeah, absolutely not. Like if I was a fighter, maybe. I don't have any confidence in my ability to throw hands with somebody, especially somebody like that. No, you can catch me
Yeah,
running, dude.
I'd be like, you win. You keep doing what you were doing. I'm out of here. I'll go. I'll
Yeah,
go change. I'll go change bars.
yeah. Actually, I'm gonna head over there.
Yeah, but
Yeah, no.
yeah, it's just that one. I've been thinking about that one for days now. But anyways, let's get to yours. What is your bar talk for the week?
Bar talk. If you go to a bar looking at the appetizers and you don't know what to get off the menu for appetizers specifically, what is the safest appetizer you're going with?
I it's I'm gonna answer for the people, not for myself. I feel like mozzarella sticks or some type of pretzel bites you really can't go wrong with.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel like for the most part, nachos are a safe bet. I feel like that is one at times that like it's not going to taste bad, but it's not going to be what you wanted out of ordering nachos. Like you know what to expect out of pretzels or mozzarella sticks.
right. I was thinking about that. It's like if you're going to a bar with a bunch of people that you're like meeting for the first time or whatever, and you're the head guy, right? And people are looking at you to get appetizers. What appetizers are you going to choose for the table? I do agree. I think mozzarella sticks and some sort of pretzel is a safe bet. I think that I totally agree with you. I think that next tier in safe bet is nachos. But again, that's where it gets a little dicey. If you have a pickier eater like me that doesn't want all the shit on top, then it turns into a bad choice. But
Right.
I do agree with you, mozzarella sticks, pretzel bites. I even think you could go with like a pickle chip or like fried pickles as a
Yeah.
safe bet because you're either going to have people that like pickles or people that hate pickles. So the people that hate pickles obviously aren't going to touch them, but the people that like them are going to devour them. I think that's also in the safe bet for me.
Yeah. I'm right with you. I don't think I'm a great person to be asked that like restaurant wise. I'm a person I will go in. Can look at the menu for 2 seconds. If I see something that is like, yeah, that sounds good, I'm getting it. I don't have to look over the entire menu just to decide like and sit there for 5 minutes and finally realize what I want.
See
Give
that's
me
an
the menu.
underrated
I'll read
trait
it. I'll
that
see
people
it. I'm
yeah,
good.
that's an underrated trait. I think people overlook that because you go into a restaurant, you see something, you're like, ooh, that sounds good. Not many people can just put that menu down, shut off their mind from thinking about food, and they're going to go through the entire menu and be like, ooh, that sounds good. I kind of like that aspect where if you go walk into a restaurant, see a menu, see the first thing that you see that you like, you get, that's respect, honestly.
Yeah. And now the beer menu is another option or another story. You
Yeah.
gotta see what they got. You never know what they're gonna have.
That's fair. No, I think that's a very fair point. Well, that is this week's edition of Bar Talk. Carrie, let's get to our Would You Rathers this week. Take it away.
All right, my would you rather has to deal with golf. And would you rather you either hit an albatross with your friends, could be one person, could be two, three people, foursome, I don't know. Or would you rather hit a hole in one by yourself? And my thought process behind this question is, in my opinion, a hole in one is still cooler than an albatross because hole in ones are doable every day. It's very, very hard to do. Albatross, yeah, it's more rare, less opportunity for it to happen, but there's still just something about a hole in one over an albatross to me that actually stumps or would beat scoring an albatross.
I'm Team Albatross, dude. It is so rare. I mean, it's damn near impossible to hit an albatross, make a two on a par five. Yeah, I don't know. A hole in one is cool. Don't get me wrong. Never done it. Never done it either. Never will. But
Yeah,
I would say I'd go with the albatross. It's harder to do. It's rare. It's just crazy to think that you're 250, 255 out, 260 maybe, 270 out of a par five, and just finding a way to make it into the hole. The distance that it requires, the precision that it requires, the luck that it requires. There's something about an albatross. And again, if you ask a non-golfer the same question, probably going to go with the hole in one if I had to guess. But just knowing, being just picturing myself on the course making an albatross, that would be unreal.
yeah. So I'm not a non-golfer, but I am going with a hole in one on this. And I think a
Yeah,
reason
that's
being
fair.
is that like you said, I can never imagine being remotely close to even being able to attempt an albatross. Hole in ones are, I mean, you just got to find a way to hit the green, and you got a chance. So like
Yeah,
it's
for
just
sure.
like the fact that a hole in one in maybe our case is just a little more doable than an albatross. Like you said, never gonna happen. But I think just for the fact that there's opportunities for it, I would take the hole in one.
No, I think that's fair. There's also the connotation around a hole in one. You make a hole in one, you buy drinks for everybody. You damn near leave the course, stop your round that you just paid for after you make a hole in one and go drink. I don't really know if those connotations are with an albatross. Like if you make an albatross on hole two or three, are you walking off the course and going to buy drinks for all your buddies and getting drunk? I don't know if you are. Are you
I think it's just
staying
like
and playing the rest of the round?
it's just an incredible thing. I think you are playing the rest of the round, and you're gonna finish probably +5 through that front nine still too.
Yeah, probably. Probably. I'll tell you what, if I make an albatross at any point in my life, no matter what hole it is, I'm leaving that course. I'm going to buy beers and we're just going to have a fantastic day or night
You're
because
not
that's
playing for the
unbelievable.
potential of the best round of your life.
I don't know, dude. I don't know. If we're talking like if we're talking hole two or three and I'm three under, four
Yeah.
under, then yeah, maybe. But I don't know. If I'm on like hole 13, I make an albatross, I'm out of there. I am out of there.
That'd be
Again,
impressive if it's hole
430 down the
13.
street. Catch you later.
Yeah. Yeah, if you do it on the back, that's really impressive. My mental stability is gone on the back nine for the most part.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Yeah, but I think I'm team albatross.
All right, very fair. What is your would you rather?
My would you rather actually relates to you. I know that you're a big flyer. You love planes. You love getting on a plane. But would you rather be a passenger in the car for a 5 hour drive or fly that takes you 7 hours? And that 7 hours includes checking in, your flight time, getting off, etc. Would you rather
So
be in the car
it's
for
kind of
five
like
hours?
my flights from Arizona to Chicago. Get the
Sure.
airport 2 hours early, about a 3.5 hour, 4 hour flight. Land, grab my bag, get out of there.
Yeah, sure.
I'm flying for one reason. I am not a road trip person. So if I am doing a road trip, I want to be the one driving. It's the only way it goes by quicker.
What would you say that threshold is then? How long does the flight have to be compared to the drive? Will you choose the drive
If I'm the passenger,
if you're the passenger? Yep.
oh, probably compared to 7 hour total trip with flight, probably like three and a half hour drive.
That's crazy, dude. I'm
Dude,
driving
I'm
every
not
single time.
I'm not that patient being a passenger. I'm watching that clock
That's fair.
go minute for minute.
I no, yeah. I hear your point. I'd probably do a 7 hour drive, and if it was compared to the 7 hour flight, I'm probably picking the drive.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
There's something about it, dude. I love long car rides.
Well, you have fun. I'll be in my plane watching a
All right,
movie.
all right, that's fair. I can also do that in the car.
You're not doing that in the car.
Depends who's driving.
Yeah. Yeah. But no, not for me. Not a big car person. I think that was the biggest benefit of all time when I was in school in Chicago was just never needing a car. I could bike everywhere. Loved biking around.
Yeah, fair. Totally fair. But Carrie, let's throw it to the best part of every episode, and that is the best bet. There's two picks out there for the people going for another sweep. Carrie, let us hear it.
I will be on the Toronto Blue Jays. They're at the Pirates. Keller's throwing for the Pirates, but Scherzer is throwing for the Blue Jays. Blue Jays are still a very hot team this half of the season. Scherzer, he's Scherzer. He's a guy that will forever be tough to bet against, just knowing the history and all the incredible things that he's surpassed in his MLB career. I'm a Scherzer guy. He's, I don't know, 40? Is he 40 years old yet? Maybe even older?
He might be older.
Yeah, that's what he might even, yeah, I don't know. But the dude still throws 95, 96 miles an hour. I'm all over him. Give me the Blue Jays.
Love it. I do like this pick a lot. Even though Keller has pitched well for the Pirates, I do think the Blue Jays get him.
Yeah. But what is getting us to sweep this week?
We're going to keep it in the NL Central with the Reds, even though I hope they lose every game because the Cardinals are behind them. But we're going with Reds money line against the Los Angeles Angels on the road. Hunter Green on the bump. Young Buck throws very, very hard. Has had shutout innings this year. Has also given up a ton of hits in some innings this year. But I do like him against this Angels lineup. I think he overpowers them. Give me the Reds today against the Los Angeles Angels. We got Blue Jays money line, Reds money line for the sweep. That is best bet.
Yep.
But if it's your first time joining us, appreciate you. We are Gotchasports, returners all the love. Go follow us on all of our socials. We got Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, X, you name it. We got it. Carrie, it's college football time, baby. That's all I got. What do you got?
We got your sports.
Until next time.